Kashi Kshetram Jariram Tribhuvana Janani Vyapini Jnana Ganga Bhakti Shraddha Geyam Nijar Guru Charanat Dhyana Yoga Prayaga Vishveshoyam Turiya Sagala Janamana Sakshi Bhutontaratma Deham Sarvam Madiye Divasati Punas Tirtamanyat Kimasti. This is from Kashi Panchakam of Shankaracharya. Body is the pilgrimage center of Kashi. The all-pervading flow of knowledge is Ganges, the mother of the three worlds. Devotion and faith are in the city of Gaya. Communion and meditation on the holy feet of the Guru is the city of Prayaga. Atman, the fourth one, is the Lord of the universe, and it is in everyone as the controller of the mind and the inner ruler. As everything exists in my own body, where is the need for another pilgrimage center?
Our Hridayam or Atman is the closest pilgrimage center. But we all keep going to different pilgrimages, There's a Swamiji in Melbourne. He also takes group to Mount Kailasha. Even I was enticed to go, but then somehow this pilgrimage said there is no pilgrimage other than this. When we are unhappy, to create happiness, we go to theater, we go for some fun activity. But if you are contented and happy, there is no need to go anywhere. Same is with the spirituality. The test of our abidance in self and enjoying it is in not looking for anything. Today I saw a patient who is placid, very calm, very composed, and his family is worried. They think something is wrong with him. And he was not allowed to speak, an elderly man. So his family was saying he has no interest. His son was quite concerned. He said, I kept asking him, what do you want to do? Where you want to go? I can book a cruise for you, or we can get something new for you, or maybe this retirement village is not good enough. And I kept listening to, and then I asked him what he feels about himself. He says, perfectly fine. And I said, what do you want to do? He said, nothing. And I asked the last question, are you happy within you? He said, best ever. But the problem is, if someone is quiet and on its own, people think there's something wrong with this person. Without going to parties, without having hobbies, without meeting people, how can a person be happy? Because the problem is the whole world is mad, full of crazy idiots all around. And they think unless you engage, you do something, you prove yourself on Facebook, there's something wrong with you. So there are so many wrong people in this world that even one single person is considered as mad. This is the problem right now in the world. So if you're not on social media, you're not creating anything, you're not in limelight, you are not interested in things, there's something wrong with you. And that wrong thing, everyone just comes to the conclusion that he's depressed. Or lack of self-esteem, sometimes people say that person lacks self-esteem. He can't stand for himself. This is just unthinkable nowadays that a person can be happy sitting at home. People think progress is building a bigger house, having a new car, or something should be happening. If you just sit quietly in your home, there's something definitely wrong. And if you take a name of God, then they think, yes, I knew that he's psychotic also. First I thought depressed, now I know he's psychotic also. Because my wife tells me that in psych hospitals, there are so many people who are involuntarily being kept there because they think there is some godliness in them or divinity has come. And because the bliss pours so much that they actually become a bit manic and sometimes psychotic also. So they are all treated as mad people. But these mad people in India are revered and respected as avadhuts. They are not treated in mental asylums. They are respected. So many of them. In recent times, it was Yogi Ram Surat Kumar, which I know in Tiruvannamalai. He was an avadhut. During Bhagavan's time also there was one, Sheshadri Swami. So the thing is that they don't care about this mind apparatus, and the mind apparatus they leave so instantaneously that they don't fix it. So it creates its own problems in the outer world to people, but inside they are in that bliss, and then they are in their Atman, established perfectly there. And you can know it if you are looking for it. Even if they throw a stone on you, you get blessings out of it. This is what it is. Spend time in that Atman, in that self. Here we definitely have a choice. You stay as Jivatma, Jiva. Jiva is that ego-ness in all of us. We whole of our life we operate in it and die in it, and then next birth again we come as a Jiva in this species or some other species. But that Jiva is also always with Atman. So that's why we say Jivatma. So there is a bondage or there is a bond between the two. When we focus on Atman, this Jiva starts disappearing. And only Atman is there and it unfolds in us and it just takes over everything. Because it is main. But if we focus on Jiva, then Jiva always presents as it is the only thing, and Atman is clouded by that. That's why we call it Jivatma. Focus on this Atman, this purity which is in all of us. Whether you belong to a religion or you are secular or atheist, doesn't matter. Whether you call it God, that energy, or you call it energy or self, doesn't matter. It has no form, no name. Bhagavan has made our life so easy. He even calls that the japa should be on that ahem only. As the Mahavakya, ahem brahmasmi. He says you just say ahem. Ahem is he puts ahem even before om. Even before Pranava mantra, he says Aham. I don't think there is any difference. Aham and Om is same, or Ram, or whatever you call. But the idea is to be aware of that only all the time. Putting all your efforts there. And how to recognize where to put efforts in which there is nothing happening of this external world. How people are behaving, what I am getting, what I am not getting, whether you do business or a job. Everyone looks into money coming out of it, How much you are bothered about money in your business, in your job, or how much fame or how much name or how much you are scared of insult or defame. All this exposes us how much we are attached to this world. No one has to tell you, you know internally. And this is what we have to get out of it. That is what we all have to practice all the time. To stay in that energy which is unconcerned about what things are happening around us. When we belong to that energy takes over everything. It blesses this body. It blesses the soul. It makes soul that. Don't believe in any identity of your own self as a person, because we are very good in writing our resume, telling our story to people. We meet someone for a coffee or even a stranger, we will tell all our good points. They say first impression is last impression. This impression is the problem. This impression is not on others. First it is on us. Our mind says that these characteristics of this human body, person moving, are very important. Put them first to everyone so they get impressed. But I'll tell you, this identity, this identity is a dent on I, the main I. It actually is defaming. We defame that I by identity. Because that I, which is known by Moses also, I am that I am, that I am that I am itself is a proof of purity. When we add a name and characteristics, we bring it down to the level of human entity as a person. And we think that we have created a good person in this body. The way we look, everyone thinks they are smart. And we have gathered some money and we have a family and we can compare ourselves with some people who are not as well than us. All those sorts of things brings that I to a very lower level. And we are happy at that low level. This is the problem. But the biggest problem is not we are happy all the time. When that level, whatever we have created, if it goes down, we become unhappy and we always try to move it up. And we keep trying to move it up at ego level, and the death comes all of a sudden. And then the game shifts to next birth and unending. This is unending game of ego to prove itself. Even if you say your life is still going on and you can correct, but see, so many people have come and gone. Biggest of biggest kings and emperors and ministers and business tycoons. Where are they, all of them, who were proving themselves? Can you find them? What legacy? Who is looking after the legacy? Everything is in dust. So the only point I want to prove is that if you identify you are that pure energy, your job is done in this body. No more coming and going. No more seeking relative knowledge. One of my friend's dad was a very, very spiritual and pious man. And he said, Sanjay, I don't want to come to next birth because I don't want to go to school again. Again, going to school and studying and getting punishment and all that, up to year 12 and then studying and graduate and then looking for a job. It's really hard. That's why I want moksha. Whatever the reason of moksha for everyone is, but I would say best is to know the truth, isn't it? Before our last breath, you can say, but we don't know when is our last breath. We plan too much ahead. I was seeing someone recently, and this lady went to see someone for a second opinion, and I got the letter and I asked her, do you want me to see you? And she said, no, but this doctor is almost very close to where we live. And I'm just speculating then when after, let's say, 10 years, I will be 80 plus, I can't bring my husband that far. So they are in 70s and thinking that after 10 years, that far I can't drive, how would I bring to this doctor? I said, we don't even know for next day, whether I am alive or whether you are alive. She said, no, but we need to plan. This is the thing, we plan too much. We don't give this planning to the divine. Bhagavan keeps saying only one thing, everything is predestined. That God, that power has planned our life. But then we say, no, I will plan. I don't trust that God. I don't know whether He knows everything or not. I know more than God. I am very smart, I am educated. I'm not sure God is educated or not. So we plan everything. Everything we want according to our own plan. Nowadays we have planners for everything. Event planner, marriage planner, party planner, life planners. There are people who tells us how to live life. So many. Then there are this new group of species have come which are known as influencers, motivators. The biggest influencer, motivator, planner is in all of us, in our heart, Hridayam. It looks very hard for people to reach here than to reach all these people on media or YouTube or on other platforms. Seek help here. Let it plan everything. And the good thing is when you go there and you look there, then you realize it is me. I am that planner. I am the creator of my life. The whole life, what I see around me, that includes it. Not just the body. Not just one body. And then you realize that I am just a visitor in this body, nothing else. This is not my body. And this is not my mind. You stop claiming these things. This is the first sin we all do. We claim this body as me and this mind as mine. That is why whatever this mind says, we try to obey. And when whatever the mind says, which we don't want to hear, the ego doesn't want to hear, then we suffer. We suffer from depression, anxiety. This relationship is causing suffering. If there is no relationship with the mind, there will be no suffering. If your child does something wrong, it hurts you. But if neighbor's child does, no relationship. Doesn't affect us. So we are in a wrong relationship within us. And we have to find the right relationship within us. And that right relationship is that beloved sitting in our heart, waiting to hug us, embrace us. We should marry to self, not to ego. The whole spirituality, whole journey is only understanding this truth. And then keeping quiet, what Bhagavan says, Chumma yeru, just keeping quiet, in your stillness. Be with that stillness all the time. But then don't react when someone blames or does something, because it's just a part of play. Everything is happening. And also be rest assured that someone doing something wrong to us, it is being planned. We must have done something wrong at some stage in this birth or previous births. Let it happen. In Hindi, sadhus, sages says that isse karam kat rahe hain. Something wrong happening to you, your karmas are getting, sorted out. Don't worry. Financial loss or loss of your image which you have built with so much efforts. Who cares? This is all, some other people are doing our work which we have to do. Get rid of this ego. Vedanta and this practice of spirituality is the most practical thing. Most practical. It's not philosophy, it's not a theory, it's not a concept, it's not a belief system. It is living that life all the time. The moment you touch your hridayam, your heart, that awareness, you are out of the game completely, whether your body is still living or not living. Because now you know the secret of the whole game, that this is just a play, it has no meaning. You are rich, you are poor, you have a job, you don't have a job, people like you, people dislike you. All this is happening. Sometimes you must be amazed. Someone who really likes you, he starts disliking you. Someone who never liked you, now he wants to be in contact with you. All these things happen. Get out of this conditioning. Stay in awareness, as awareness. Then this whole play you will understand, and you will take it as a play only, as a leela. So the jnani enjoys most because he is now a spectator, he is only a witness, he is not involved. When teams play and you are part of a team or you are barracking for a team, you feel very anxious, I know people, they get all anxiety and tremors when their team is losing or even winning. But if you don't even understand the game, like some Japanese came to see the footy match in Melbourne and they had no clue what was happening. And they were smiling all the time and the match finished and they clapped and went. This is known as pure witnessing, uninvolved state. Not for this party, not for that party, no party. Be in that. That God is very impartial. Understand that energy. I'm calling it God. Some people might not like it, but that energy is the most divine thing. Most revered in all of us. It is not for this or that. It is just whatever it is. That is why people have done so much of crime, because it only gives energy and it watches how you will do. And whatever you do, you have to pay a price for it. Someone other day said to me that this Vedanta doesn't apply to people like Hitler. They have no heart, no Atman. But the problem is that the one who is having Atman is not realizing it. So what can Atman do? Atman is a witness. It is pure energy. You have to come there. If you ignore it, it does not bother you. People says that God chooses you. Yes, God chooses you, but you should have some patrata. You should have some eligibility for that, eligibility criteria. At least you should be a good person, at least, if not spiritual. At least good intentions. At least not thinking about how to create problem for others in thought or in action. Pure intention is very important. If our mind is stuck up with people and how to show them this or how revenge or all whatever it is, how can you be still? That means you are always engaged in your thoughts. And the second thing which takes us away from this energy is doership. Some people always wants to do something. Always wants to do something. This doership, do anything you want, but first know the self. Then see what that energy wants this body to do. Then go with the flow. But first thing first, know this, I am. Even in Bhagavan times, most of the ardent devotees of Bhagavan were living in Palakotu. So you can say they were the selfish people, they were not helping in the ashram, not doing anything in the ashram. They were all living outside. Bhagavan used to pay visit to them. What this means? It means that not even the ashram work is that important. It is our mind which says, no, this is important, this is spiritual, this is religious. Main thing is your practice. Yes, you can do ashram work, you can do your household chores, you can do your business, but your attention should be here. Anything which is taking away your attention, better to leave that or practice more to stay there. Some people are not very clear whether they should engage in social gatherings or they should stay alone in solitude. And I have to say one thing about it is that sometimes it is not our choice. These are the circumstances. You run a business, you have to throw a party, it is part of that. But again, your energy should be here. You know that this is just part of the whatever, family commitments or the business commitments. But energy should be here. You should not get swayed into it. You go there and you're lost. And then you repent that why I went there, now I'm not feeling good energy and I've lost. Because it is all play of that energy only. Whether you stay there or you slip and then you start behaving like an animal, like most of the people behave in parties. That's why they say party animal. So you stay as awareness in party awareness, not party animal. Every moment a person who is grahast, who lives as a householder, we are being checked all the time by everything around us. Sometimes we feel that we are in that Brahman, we are Jnani, and something comes which tells us you are still a bit far from it, almost there but not there. This whole exercise, practice to establish in self is beautiful. It's a beautiful journey. And it tells us all about life. It opens up life for us. People say that God tests the seeker. Bhagavan pariksha leta hai. What you call as test is actually just you get more mature in your life through these things happening in life. It happens in everyone's life. But some people don't understand because they are not taking the path of knowing the self or path of truth. They also go through same things, but they don't learn their lesson. But a seeker learns their lessons very quickly. Why things are happening to them. They must have done something wrong. So it's okay. So they are impartial, whatever bad comes to us also. Because it's just part of the play. God cannot be wrong. I'm not sure, but I heard when Jesus was crucified, he said, "This is all happening to your own son. God, can you see?" And then the next sentence he said was, "As you wish." So maybe he was just going to slip because so much of atrocities were happening with him. He was getting crucified. But then that awareness took over. The way we think, the way we talk, the way we behave with people tells us how much we are established. No one has to give us a badge or a stamp that these are enlightened people or these are non-enlightened people. There is nothing like this. It is your own dream. It is your responsibility to get free from it, no one else. You have to break your dream. You have to awaken. You can't ask people in your dream to be awakened. When we awaken, then everyone's awakened. Because the one who is awakened is always the same. Self doesn't need realization. Self is always realized. The one who is not realized is our own dreaming, our own illusion. Illusion continues as long as you're living in this world as a person. You have to give up this personhood to take up the godhood. It is a rule of one man, one post. You can't hold two posts in this. In your portfolio, either you can be person or you can be that presence, that divine. You can't be both. You can't play games here, keeping two portfolios. You have to choose one. And why we stay in personhood? Because whatever suffering it gives, we still enjoy it. Our vairagya, our dispassion is not complete. And to make it complete, you have to taste that. So when you have spurts of tasting of that divinity within you, then you just leave everything within. From inside, you just give up all identity. Because that infinite bliss you cannot compare with anything which these senses gives you. These sensual pleasures are good as long as you haven't tasted the divine. Once you have tasted the divine, then you will realize that all these sensual pleasures are like a dog licking his own wound and thinking he's having something really tasty today. Sometimes, people give dry bones to the dog and the dog just keeps chewing it, and then his own blood comes and he thinks this blood is in this bone. This is ego life. When we say like this, people will not accept you. But God will embrace you. If you are for God, then your vairagya is very important. Bhagavan always used to say disinterested action. He didn't say hate actions or don't do actions. Actions are required as long as this body will do something. There will be some responsibilities, you are living, whatever you do, even to make this body survive, you will work, you will do something. But disinterested action. In Hindi, there is a word udasin bhav. Nowadays, udas, people take it as a literally word as depression. But that's not what it means. It means like you have no flavor to it. You are just neutral, impartial to whatever is happening. Because you need to understand that energy is that only, udasin only, impartial. It never interferes. It's not that someone says there is no God or God is dead and then he gets a slap from the air. It doesn't say anything. It just allows you to say or do, and then you have to pay for those karmas, whatever it is, good or bad. Because it's all on auto mode. There's no one who is standing or sitting somewhere and watching people what they are doing. He's watching everything, not it. He's everywhere. He's in you, he's in me, he's in everything. We have to become his eyes. There is a word which is more common in, I believe, in Abrahamic religions, messenger of God. We don't hear this word in Hinduism or Advaita, but even if you want to look into this word messenger of God, what is messenger? Messenger of God has to be God only. He doesn't need any mediators. When the divinity unfolds in a body, then you can call it a messenger of God. But it's not that God is sitting somewhere and sending messages to the messenger to pass it on to others. No middleman is needed. We are all messengers of God. But to be messengers, we have to listen to the message which is going on all the time in us in silence. It's a perpetual silence in all of us. And we all can listen to it. With some efforts and some grace. Today is a very beautiful occasion. It's Eid ul-Fitr. So I believe that Allah will bless our satsang today. Because it's the same energy, You call it by different names. It's a blessed day. Hope it bless all of us. Everyone is trying to know that same God, same energy. Abide in your inner silence all the time. Even if your mind is active, even if your mind is creating a lot of emotional thoughts, depressing thoughts, negative thoughts, or even creating positive thoughts for you to keep yourself busy, starting new ventures and being in that ego mode of doership, just stay in your silence. Watch all this unfolding. You are before all these things, all what mind is saying. Don't be slave of mind to follow it. Mind is just conditioning. When you stop following your mind, when you are very stern about it and you just watch, then the door opens. Then the grace pulls you in. And then when things are happening, what for the materialistic people are good, you are happy. And when it's not happening, you are super happy. You have no difference whether things happens or not happens. But you don't create obstacles for it not to happen. And if you are required for things to happen, you just do what you can do. But you don't go to the extreme level of doing wrong deeds to let it happen. That the divinity never allows you to do. Understand you don't have to look for ways for things to be done. If it has to be done, you just give your beautiful divine energy into it. If it happens, it happens. Doesn't happen, doesn't happen. And I'll tell you, life is going on, it's moving. And if we are moving towards the truth, we should never tell a lie, even in our thoughts to ourselves. And don't try to bend truth to make it convenient. Sometimes we do a half lie. So many ways. It could be to the tax office, it could be to the way we convey truth to others, half truth. Even in spirituality, I have seen some people advertise that this program, this retreat, this book was for this much of price, 100, now we are giving 40% discount and now it is this much. For whom is the discount? Why you first made the price high? To whom is the discount? Previously you were taking a bigger profit, now you're taking a lesser profit. But the human mind thinks, oh look, it's a deal. This is also a lie. It's a big lie. I've seen people selling spiritual books by these lies, or retreats and all these things. Understand the one, the absolute. If we have to touch the absolute, we have to prepare ourselves to be not less than absolute. Then only we can touch the absolute, by no other means. A wicked, a crooked, a selfish, a greedy person can never ever know the truth. I can give it in writing, whatever, unless he changes himself. We have to reform our inner core. And all of us can do that reformation if we surrender, if we start behaving with humility. Because that energy is purest of pure. You come closer to it, it takes away all your impurities. It makes you pure. As Neela Kantanji was saying, this Ganges is flowing in all of us. It washes away all sin. This body is Kashi, in which Mahadev is sitting in the center. Mahadev doesn't see whether you are rich or poor. See symbolically the crowd around him, half naked, and what they are wearing or not wearing and how they look. He doesn't care. You should be good at heart, that's all. That goodness is most important. More you pay attention to that silence, more it purifies us. It wants you to be there. Understand that godliness in us also wants you to be the messenger, all of us to be the messenger. He wants you to represent him. But to represent him, there is a condition. You have to be that, nothing less than that. So he can completely reflect out of you as that. He doesn't want us to be a cheater or to create a business out of his spirituality. How much Bhagavan charged when he was giving Upadesh or he was sitting? How much Nisargadatta Maharaj charged? I don't know. I don't think anyone charged any time. I'm not just saying about them. All of them. Whoever has established, whether Neem Karoli Baba or Anandamayi Ma, anyone, anywhere. If someone has opened a shop in spirituality, understand there is no essence there, there is no divinity there. There can be some siddhis and magic and all those things. Who can sell God? Who will sell God? Tell me. If that means that is a big ego. If someone is even selling God, better to do other professions then, There are so many nice professions, noble professions. Whatever we are doing is better. Kabir was the poorest of poor. And he used to have satsang in his house. And people who used to come to satsang, he used to feed all of them. To an extent that one time he actually, even his wife got into trouble because the grocery shop owner wanted his wife to come to his home. What I'm trying to impress upon you is that this is so pure. Once you touch it, you want everyone to have it at any expense. Here there is no business. If the only business here is business of love, unconditional love for that energy. Because it is nothing, it is the only thing. Nothing can compare it. Nothing. Not your most beautiful partner or your job or whatever you think is most important in this world, what your ego wants. Ego only wants things in this world, isn't it? And then one day, what happens? We are dead. So the end result is death only, and losing everything what we have gained in this world. So this gain is useless gain. But if we know the divine in our heart, we know it forever, eternally. And that connects us not with our family, with everything. It is beyond time and space. It is eternal, unborn. And it stops our coming and going, knowing that we get established in eternity. We get out of the cycle. We get absorbed in Arunachala. Last time when I was in Tiruvannamalai, Lataji gave me this book on devotees, Bhagavan's devotees, Ramana Periya Puranam, 75 devotees. If you read those stories, these are so, you will understand those were all like normal people. They have selfish desires or whatever, and they all improved and progressed to an extent that they all got absorbed in Arunachala. This is the power of devotion. Always stay in your satsang with the truth. Abide with those purest of souls around you who are also seekers. When you feel talking to someone, talk to them. Or otherwise, stay in your solitude. Be the devotee of devotees. More we learn from devotees than Bhagavan's teachings, because those devotees turned into that. So when we read their stories, that helps us also. How to move, how to behave, how much devotion it needs. Because it is not that Bhagavan is not in the body, so he can't help. He can help more now. Because in a body you think he is limited to that region, that area, though he was not even at that time. And now he is everywhere. He is the one who is allowing the satsang to happen. The satsang is happening in his guidance. Nobody can claim that he is doing, he is arranging. He has arranged. Abide in that pure energy of Bhagavan. You enter into the silence of your heart. Your whole body starts vibrating. And it's so light. And this stillness takes you out of this time and space. You become something which has no body, but it is pure intelligence, pure knowledge. From a person of relative knowledge, we become truth. Truth is not a word, truth is that. When you give up all this, what we are not, by rejecting everything, by mind, by body, by whatever it is, and paying attention to awareness, you start receding from everything. Internally, you have sorted out, you have untied the knot which is between Jiva and Atman. And the knot gone out, the Jiva disappears because there is actually no Jiva. Jiva is only bondage which Atman by illusion thinks I am this body. Our pure attention on awareness frees us from everything. Be the devotee of your own inner silence. Know that all thoughts are all external. Don't say, I am doing, I have to do, I suffered, I am fearful. I has nothing to do with any of these things. That I is always free from all thoughts. The biggest sin is putting I with all thoughts. Take away I from all thoughts and just witness. Now the mind is completely handicapped. Without I, it cannot stand. It only needs support of I. If you take away that support, there is no mind. There is nothing. Only Arunachala Shiva, Brahman, Self. Pure stillness always. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm so happy that there are so many people in this world who are still interested in that. It gives me an immense happiness knowing that there are people. And I think you all should be happy about that. You are not the only one. There are so many other people. And I'll tell you, this is the only area in which there is no competition. If everyone looks into the heart, millions of people can get enlightened. It's not a quota system that this year only 10 have to pass. It's nothing. There's no competition. Another thing is, if we all work together in a satsang, there is beautiful positive energy. And everyone's energy combines to elevate everyone. That is the power of satsang. So thank you.